Welcome to the Real Estate Guys radio show. I'm your host, Robert Helms. There's lots of ways, reasons, and methods to invest in real estate. Today, we're going to explore a way to merge your real estate investing business with the rest of your life. We affectionately call it lifestyle investing, and it just may be for you. Plus, we've got a great guest today on the Real Estate Guys radio program.
If you love real estate and have always wanted to own your own business, listen up. The Real Estate Guys and their panel of experts want to teach you how to go full-time fast in the real estate syndication business. These next few years may go down in history as one of the best times ever to acquire investment real estate. There are deals everywhere if you know where to look and how to assemble the resources. The Secrets of Successful Syndication seminar will show you how to make big money doing big deals from a team of experts that have syndicated projects totaling more than $1 billion. Don't wait for someone to give you a raise or create a job for you. Attend the Secrets of Successful Syndication and learn how to build a team, raise capital, find deals, and make full-time money in 6 months or less. Go to realestateguysradio.com and click on events. All the big players use syndication as a way to diversify risk, optimize profits, and earn big money. You can too. Go to realestateguysradio.com and click on events.
Welcome to the Real Estate Guys radio program. I'm your host, Robert Helms. In the co-host seat, as usual, it's our financial strategist, Russell Gray.
Hey, Robert.
We've got a great topic today, and I think this is going to apply to a lot of folks. And what we want to do is to delve into the idea of real estate as a lifestyle. So there's basically two types of real estate investors. Those who love their lives, love their job, love their business, and on the side recognize that they need to acquire some assets, own some houses or some syndication interests, get exposure to the long-term benefits of real estate, but they aren't really into it. They do it because of the need to invest, and frankly, sometimes it's a pain in their side. The other type of investor is the type of investor that may start out that way but gets the bug and eventually is a real estate investor. It's what they do, it's how they do, it's where they go. Today, Russ, I can't think of a time that you and I travel virtually anywhere that isn't a real estate event or a place we own property or a legitimate business expense. Our lives revolve around real estate. And we're not trying to sell you on that. But I think today this idea of real estate doesn't have to be a labor of love. Real estate can be something you love to do and profit from.
Well, I think you could put all productive people into two categories. One category of people who work for the money and they're two-stepping. I'm going to do what I got to do to make money, and then someday down the road, I'll retire and live the life I want to live. And then you have other people who figure out how to be productive doing something that they absolutely love. And then the nuance in between that is people start out doing something that they love to do, but they don't really understand how to build it in such a way that it grows in a way that allows them the flexibility and the freedom. So in the beginning, it's manageable because it's small, but as you start having success, pretty soon the business literally eats you, and you go from owning the business to the business owning you. And of course, in our syndication program, we spend a lot of time dealing with people on scalability because syndicating is all about scaling. And if you don't scale with a lifestyle objective in mind, and we call it your sweet spot, you end up having all kinds of responsibilities that are very, very important, but you may not enjoy doing that work. I mean, that one time we went in, and this wasn't a syndicator, but this was our classic story of a guy that had reached the pinnacle, making $1 million a year, $80,000 a month on his portfolio. And he's managing this property hands-on 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, literally hating every minute of his life. And we sat there thinking, there's so many investors that we know that think they want to be you. If only they could sit here and listen to you describe how this property has taken over your life. And yes, it provides money, but you get to a point where you have enough money. If you don't love the work, you quit. I mean, look at a guy like Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs was worth $100 million by the time he was 26 years old. And yet he died with his boots on at 56 years old, worth $7 billion, and he wanted to keep working. That's a guy that did what he did because he loved it. He loved what he did. He loved why he did it. He loved how he did it. He didn't want to let go. I think that the ideal investor, the ideal entrepreneur, the ideal worker however you choose to make your bread, is you're going to organize your life in such a way that it absolutely serves you. So when we talk about lifestyle, that's what we're talking about, building a business that pays you to live the life that you want to live.
And the best time to think about that is really before you start. So lots of folks listen to the show, been investing for many, many years, in fact, decades. But we also know there's a number of folks that are aspirational in that they don't yet invest in property. And either way, the idea is to start to be strategic about this. I'll give you a simple example. I have a friend I've known for many, many years, and about 20 years back, she was interested in buying some rental properties. And back in the day, we were doing the big field trips, going to different marketplaces, and she was trying to decide between Las Vegas, Nevada, and Phoenix, Arizona. She wanted to buy a single family house to start, and then per our teaching, continue to buy in that market. You might as well, quote unquote, amortize the costs of your due diligence and market analysis over multiple properties. And she was really at a quandary. And I just got talking to her. I go, well, where do you like to go? She goes, oh, I'd much rather go to Vegas. Well, then there you go. Now everything else is equal to you between Phoenix and Vegas. Then if you invest in Las Vegas, when you go there, it's deductible. You're spending time there anyway. It's a market you know, at least know parts of. And so that was her decision to fit just passive single family rental investment into her lifestyle. Now you can take that to the nth degree. I love to travel, so I like to go to places where there's pretty real estate and own some of it. So I think the whole idea of lifestyle investing, and we've got a guest who's going to address some of the finer points, is that it isn't something you're doing instead of your life. It's something that fits right into the way that you live your life.
And that's not just markets. That's people. That's product niche. That's responsibilities. What is on your plate to be responsible for? There are certain things, obviously, you have to be responsible for. And so you have to even find a way to design those in such a way that you like them. I think a lot of people, especially you talked about the aspirational investors, they're just getting started. And they're so hungry to make money. They're so desperate for their dream lifestyle. They will endure almost any hardship and they will invest almost any amount of money and discipline themselves to learn every conceivable skill, whether they enjoy it or not. And I just would caution people, having done that, that's a big mistake. There are lots of people who absolutely love to do what you hate. There are people who are absolutely brilliant in areas that you are completely incompetent. And so the one thing you have to be good at is understanding who you are and what you want, and then understanding what you need and putting the pieces together. And whether you choose to do that using other people's capital, which is what syndication is all about, or you do it because you have enough credit and cash of your own, however you choose to do it. I think personally it's easier to do it if you go bigger because you have more money to work with, and there's no limitation to the amount of money out there looking for opportunity. So that's why I'm such a big fan of syndication. But whether you do it in your own account or you do it with investment partners, the point is that your core skill set is to understand kind of a vision, what it is you're trying to accomplish, and then how to put the pieces together to make it happen, and always do it with balance in mind so that you don't allow the part that's your job to eat you alive. And when you master that, it's a harder problem to solve. But if you will put the time in to learn how to solve that problem, you will like the answer so much better than the simple problem. Gee, how do I make money in real estate? How can I make more money? That is such a simplistic, and it really can become a burdensome solution because it brings with it a lot of baggage. Whereas if you will answer the other question first and put your effort into that, you will love the answer so much better. And we've seen it time and time again, both personally and through other people.
You know, I always say live where you want to live, invest where the numbers make sense. Imagine you live in a market that has good investments. Well, you could buy the house next door and one across the street and then one down from that. And before you know it, you own 5 houses on your block, including the one you live in. And now you go knock on those doors at the first of every month and you collect the rent, and they say, oh, by the way, we have a problem with the disposal, and you go get your tool belt, right? That's one way to invest. The other way is if you live in a market that has great investment opportunity, you buy those same houses, but you never let any of the tenants know that you own them or where you live, and you hire a competent third-party manager that does all of that work on your behalf. Now, that manager costs something, so you give up a little bit of the return. But what our guest is going to convince you of today is that what you buy back is your time. And the more of your time you can buy back, the better lifestyle you have. When we come back, you're going to meet Justin Donald. He's the lifestyle investor, and we're going to have an awesome conversation today on the Real Estate Guys radio program.
Real estate investment advice right in your mailbox. Sign up for the free Real Estate Guys newsletter at realestateguysradio.com.
As real estate investors, it's no secret that the Real Estate Guys love Florida, and the Sunshine State continues to receive more than its fair share of businesses and population relocating from the Northeast, which has created a huge opportunity for real estate investors. So come join Russ and me in mid-August for our Jacksonville Palm Coast Ocala field trip. On this highly interactive trip, you'll get an up-close, hands-on, personal experience you'd be hard-pressed to find elsewhere. You'll feel the vibrancy of the markets, observe the quality of the infrastructure, and truly get a sense for the demographics, all things you just can't do by simply searching online. Plus, we'll introduce you to our Boots on the Ground team, and you'll meet some amazing investors from all over. To reserve your spot, go to realestateguysradio.com and click Events, where you'll find the Jacksonville Field Trip. There's a big difference between researching a market from afar and seeing it with your own eyes. So join the Real Estate Guys as we explore not one, but 3 amazing real estate markets. Go to realestateguysradio.com and click Events for the Jacksonville Palm Coast Ocala Field Trip. See you there.
Hey, ever wished you could go back in time and do some tax planning? Now you can, just like Marty McFly. Lucky for you, a brand new federal law just made this possible with an EQRP to get tax deductions and reduce your taxable income from last year, so you can use that tax savings to invest in real estate, Bitcoin, gold, even your own business. Whether you're a full-time investor, doctor, government employee, even if you have 5 or 50 employees, the EQRP works and is your secret weapon, and now it's retroactive. Hey, I'm Damian Lupo, and we have your solution. By the way, if you got bad advice and used an IRA for an apartment syndication, you are sitting on a UBIT time bomb. But don't worry, there's a solution, the EQRP. The EQRP company is ready to help you get control of your money, kill UBIT, and help you pay way less taxes. Want to learn more about this strategy? Send an email to eqrp@realestateguysradio.com for my special EQRP report. Paying tax or letting Wall Street suck you dry is dumb. Your first step is freeing your retirement money by sending an email to eqrp@realestateguysradio.com today.
Hi, this is Steve Forbes. You're listening to The Real Estate Guys. Have fun. You'll learn something.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Guys radio program, now in our 26th year of broadcast. We're so glad you're here today, and you picked a great show because we're going to talk about lifestyle investing. Now, that might mean a lot to different folks, but the gentleman that we're going to hear from today has been investing for more than 20 years in all types of real estate. Let's say hello to Mr. Justin Donald. Hey, Justin.
Hey, Robert. Great to be on the show. Hey, Russ. Thanks for having me. I love what you guys do, so I'm just excited to be here with you.
Well, we're anxious to hear your story because a lot of folks want to get into real estate investing, but they think, gosh, it takes so much knowledge or so much experience, or I don't have enough money, or, myriad excuses of why they can't. And yet you have kind of a great story about how you approached life and business and real estate. So take us back to when you first got started in real estate, what attracted it to you.
Yeah. So, it probably makes sense to share the story of what actually got me into real estate, because I first started investing in kind of what my circle of influence said to invest in, which are qualified plans, the stock market, having an advisor. And I just had a crazy experience where these statements would tell me that I was earning this really nice positive rate of return. Let's call it a 7% rate of return. But at one point, I just started running the numbers and I noticed that I was actually losing money. So somehow I'm getting this positive return. So I'm thinking that I'm making more than I am, which means I'm not taking my money out, which means I'm putting more money in, all the stuff that Wall Street wants me to do while they're manipulating the actual numbers. So my dollars, I actually was losing money, and I did my own math. And that's where I said, all right, I've got to move on. There has to be a better way. And that's really what opened my eyes to real estate in the first place, because I thought, when I was young, that I had to have a lot of money to get into real estate. That was one of my limiting beliefs, that I couldn't do real estate. I had to invest in the stock market because I only had a little bit of money at that time relative to maybe what I have today. But it was such a fallacy, because I realized over time, like today, I can tell you, if you have a great deal the money is the easiest part to put together.
Right.
Everyone has money, or so many people have money that are looking to find a good investment. But back then I didn't know that. I didn't think that. And so it took me a while to get started in real estate. But I'm thankful I finally did. I'm thankful for Wall Street kind of like manipulating the heck out of me. And finally, the wool was pulled from my eyes. And I was going to get into really like 3 flats and 4 flats. I was living in Chicago at the time. And that's where I, kind of had the stumbling block of how do I come up with the money? These are really expensive, but I want to live in a unit. I want to rent the other units out. Then I had a friend that started investing. We were going to invest in single family homes to kind of get it started. And then he was about to sell his whole portfolio and get into mobile home park investing. And I thought, that seems really interesting. He said, yeah, I'm going to go learn how to do it. Do you want to go to like a seminar boot camp with me? And I said, no, that sounds horrible. That I have no desire to do that. I had this great idea of what 3 flats and 4 flats in Chicago would look like in my portfolio. And so I didn't. And then over time, he started doing really well, sold his single family homes, started scaling mobile home parks, bought an incredible home that he's living in, lived this great life, was traveling to Europe for the summers, didn't work very hard. And I said, all right, I think I missed the boat here. And so instead of lending him money to do real estate, I decided, why don't I just take those same dollars and buy my own? I was getting, a good return on my money, but not compared to owning deeded real estate where you're buying it at a good price. And so I bought my very first mobile home park, and the cash flow from that park replaced my wife's salary. My wife was a teacher at the time. And so we were able to retire her with one investment. I bought another park that covered really what it just cost us to survive. So one of the things I teach people in my community, in the lifestyle investor community, is how to figure out what it costs you to survive per month. So just basic bare minimum survival. Then what does it cost you to live your current lifestyle? And then what does it cost you to live the ideal lifestyle that you want to have? And so that second part covered our basic survival income. So maybe not the vacations and the eating out, but certainly, mortgage, utilities, groceries, everything at that point in time. And that was a pretty magical moment for me, because I don't think I even realized, the way I describe it is I was walking around with a backpack full of weights, or maybe, gold bullion, something really heavy. And then I finally took it off and I was like, wow, I didn't realize I was carrying so much weight. I didn't realize the stresses of like trying to pay the bills and get ahead. And something clicked in that moment. And I just knew that this was the path, that this would lead to other things. And so I doubled down, bought another property that covered our lifestyle income. And from that point on, we were financially free. And it didn't take us long. It took my wife and I a few years. And we were able to raise our daughter where my wife could stay home. She could choose what she wanted to volunteer into, but not feel like she had to do anything full time. And then the moment I truly bought my time back, that was a game changer, because I did it the safe way. I said, all right, well, I'm not going to leave what I'm currently doing, this business I had built under the umbrella of another company, until my passive income equals the income that I'm earning, my earned income, which is your highest taxed income, right?
Right.
And so I did it safe. But once I bought my time back, I learned really quickly how to make, really good money in a short period of time. And I just thought, how did I miss this whole time? If I just bought my time back, if I just had the freedom to think and make decisions where I wasn't bombarded and living in a reactionary state, then I could have gotten so much further ahead, but it was risky to do that. And really for me, the big aha, my first aha was covering the bare survival, income. But the second aha was when I took a mobile home park that I bought, that I made 105% cash on cash return in year one. Then I sold it at a year and a day for a $500,000 profit. I made more in that short transaction where I put in like 5 hours a week, if even that. Let's call it 5 hours a week for a year and a day. And I made more inside that little time frame than all the hours I was pouring into this other business where I was truly slaving away. And that right there is where everything changed.
You gotta love real estate. You know, you brought up some great points, and it's been said that you can't steal second base if you don't take your foot off first. I think so many people, they are entrapped by their current economic reality, their lifestyle, their mortgage and car payments, and they don't have that ability to just pour it on in real estate, and they are worried about the risk. But that's your story. You were careful. You were safe, to use your words. And so it is possible without betting the farm to do this. And let's talk a little bit about this idea of lifestyle investment. Your book is called The Lifestyle Investor Book. And so let's talk about what that means to you.
Yeah. So what lifestyle investing to me is owning your time. It's buying your time back. I think most people are a slave in some way, shape, or form. They're a slave to the money they make. They're a slave to the job they have. They're a slave to the business they built. Maybe they escaped the job, but they built a business that actually is like a bigger captive, where maybe they are making more money, but they're working harder. They're working more hours. They have adjusted their lifestyle up. And so now it's even harder to leave. And so you've got these golden handcuffs tied to lifestyle or what you're accustomed to, or even just to safety, security, routine, known versus unknown. That to me was like the danger zone that I had to get away from. And I did not want to be part of that system. I think it's so easy to become entrapped. So I really wanted to, share with the world. And really the whole reason I wrote the book was really kind of lay out my, what I call my criteria or my 10 commandments of investing for cash flow and for passive income and financial freedom. And I wanted my daughter to have it just in case anything ever happened to me. And so that was the motivation to actually put pen to paper that, I've had friends for years tell me, you got to write something, you got to teach this. And I just have kind of kicked the can down the road. And I had a buddy say, hey, man, you've been saying that you want to do this, and it seems like it's the same story every time we get together. What happens if you die and your daughter doesn't learn any of this? And that was it. That's what it took. It was like a punch to the gut. I started writing the next day. The first version of it was a lot shorter. And then I started kind of pulling insights from a lot of my clients. I have a lot of private clients over the years that I've coached and mentored. And the book kind of became what it is today. But it's my goal to teach people, to help people buy their time back and to spend it in a way where they are living a life that is the most fulfilled that it can be, using their unique gifts, spending time, I guess, with people that they love and care about most, but also doing the things that fill them up the most.
Hey, Justin, let's get into some of the commandments. We obviously aren't going to have time to cover all 10. Before we're done, we'll let folks know how they can get the book. And you've been kind enough to give away a copy for Real Estate Trivia today, so someone's going to win a copy of the book. But take us through a couple of the commandments so we get kind of a flavor for what you're talking about.
Sure. I'll start nice and easy with the first commandment, which is lifestyle first. And I just think that in this commandment, it's about really getting clear on what you want out of life. I mean, I've coached a lot of people over the years, and when I ask the question of what does the ideal life look like for you, 9 out of 10 times, people start thinking and then they say, well, I don't know, but what I do know is I don't want this and I don't want that. And I hate when this happens. And truly, my experience is people have no clarity. They are very aware of what they don't like and so far away from taking the time to figure out what they do like, what they do want, how they do want life to be. And so there's a way that you can invest where it can own you. And there's a way that you can invest where it is truly passive, where you either have teams that run it or you invest in syndications or funds, and it's not involving your time. Maybe you sacrifice some return, and everyone's at a different point in life. But I think it's really important to get clear with where you are and to make investments according to the lifestyle that you want, the things that are going to help support that, whether it's time freedom, whether it's financial freedom, maybe it's both. Maybe you'll sacrifice some time freedom today to earn a better return so that you can have time freedom faster in the future. And so all that really depends. But I see a lot of people buy real estate to get financial freedom and then keep adding it on. And then over time, they built this business that owns them and they are stuck working even harder than they were before. And by the way, that still may be better than where they were, but it's maybe not where they wanted to go. And if they had taken the time to say, hey, what do I want out of life? How much do I want to work? What what type of work do I want to do? In a perfect world, how many hours a week would I work? I think then you make better decisions long term. For me, I couldn't not work. That would be horrible. But I like having the freedom to not work whenever I want for as long as I want. And then when I get passionate about something, I want to pour into it. And so I just like having no rules. Maybe I work, 3 days in a row really hard on something that I'm into. And then I take a month off to go, travel the world. Like in 2018, my family, I took the whole year off and we literally traveled the world. It was incredible. Went to 13 different countries and it was awesome. But at a certain point, I was like, okay, I gotta get back to doing stuff, And so I just think it's important to get clarity on what that is in life that you want.
Well, that's such a great point. So many people get the bug and they go off and they start acquiring assets. And before you know it, they pick something like, I don't know, fix and flip that takes a lot of time. And the next thing you know, they are a slave to the business, as you say. So especially the folks that haven't really started investing yet, boy, if you could just go back, many of us, and talk to our younger selves about this idea, let's create a business that supports what we want as a lifestyle rather than let the business determine what our lifestyle is going to be. Our guest today is the lifestyle investor, Justin Donald. We'll hear more from Justin coming up, but first we'll play real estate trivia and give you a chance to win a copy of his book next. You're tuned to the Real Estate Guys radio program. I'm your host, Robert Helms.
Live nationwide, you're listening to the Real Estate Guys. Find out more at realestateguysradio.com.
The Real Estate Guys are throwing a party and you're invited. Join us live at the New Orleans Investment Conference, October 12th through 15th. Now in its 48th year, it's the nation's longest running investment conference and features some of the biggest names in economics and investing, including Jim Rickards, Danielle DiMartino Booth, Rick Rule, Doug Casey, James Grant, and George Gammon. And of course, the Real Estate Guys are speaking again this year. Plus, we're hosting an awesome party one of the evenings with some very special guests. So make plans today to join the Real Estate Guys at the New Orleans Investment Conference. With all that's going on in the world, no serious investor can afford to miss it. Send an email to neworleans@realestateguysradio.com and we'll get you all the details. That's neworleans@realestateguysradio.com. In uncertain times like this, it's great to know there are two things you can always count on: high demand for affordable single-family homes to live in, and Terry Kerr's amazing Memphis team at Mid-South Home Buyers to find, fix, and manage the next addition to your recession-resistant real estate portfolio. The Memphis market is a logistics and distribution dynamo with an economic engine that's essential to moving goods and critical supplies all over the United States. Quality rehab, proven profitable property management, affordable rents, and solid ROI make turnkey property investing through Terry's team a dream when it matters most. To learn more about Memphis and Mid-South Home Buyers, send an email to midsouth@realestateguysradio.com. That's midsouth@realestateguysradio.com.
Hi, this is Anthony Melchior from Tell 'em Possible, and you're listening to The Real Estate Guys.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Guys radio program. Thanks for tuning into the show. We're talking today about integrating real estate into your lifestyle. Great way to do that is to come on the Belize Discovery Trip. It's coming up in August. All the details on our website at realestateguysradio.com. Under events, you'll see the Belize Discovery Trip. Come hang out with me in beautiful Belize. Hey, before we get back to our interview with Justin Donald, it's time to play Real Estate Trivia. That's your chance to win a prize by knowing today's Real Estate Trivia question. And the prize is a good one. Justin is giving away an autographed copy of his book, The 10 Commandments of Lifestyle Investing. That can be yours if you know today's Real Estate Trivia question. When you hear the question and think you know the answer, fire off your best guess to trivia@realestateguysradio.com. Trivia@realestateguysradio.com. Give us your name, the answer to the question, and your physical mailing address so Justin can send you his book, The 10 Commandments of Lifestyle Investing. Last week on the show, we had entrepreneur and former NFL player Chris Gronkowski with us. We asked this: after starting for the Dallas Cowboys, Chris went on to play for the Indianapolis Colts and the Denver Broncos. What city housed the fourth and final team he was signed to? Well, the answer is the fine city of San Diego, California. Chris was signed to the Chargers, who used to be from San Diego. Here's our real estate trivia question for this week. Where in the world will you find Dinkytown? Yeah, Dinkytown doesn't sound like a big place, but somewhere in the world is actually a place called Dinkytown. If you know, or you can look it up quickly, or I don't know, maybe you live there. Send your best guess to trivia@realestateguysradio.com. Give us your name, your physical mailing address, and where in the world you'll find Dinkytown. First person that gets it right gets an autographed copy of Justin's book, The 10 Commandments of Lifestyle Investing. That's today's real estate trivia question. We're with the author of that book, Justin Donald. Hey, Justin, how about sharing another commandment with us?
Sure. I'll kind of combine a few because commandment 2 is to reduce the risk. And I have this at the beginning. It's really important. I know anyone that follows Warren Buffett, you're going to know that this is his number one rule of investing. And for me, I just like to protect my investment. So I use all kinds of different techniques and terms to really protect it, whether it be over collateralizing against an asset, whether it be, finding a way to pledge membership interest as collateral. Maybe it's, kind of securing it, making sure you're in like a first lien position or a senior secured position. So there's the collateral part of it. There's the security part of it. It's making sure that that security is perfected so it actually works out the way you think it's going to work out.
Yep.
Sometimes people back it by an asset that maybe isn't worth what they thought it was worth. So I would rather just back it by like 5 times the value of my investment. I mean, there's lots of different ways that you can do this, personal guarantees, but the whole idea that you can control how much you can lose by the terms you put in place, I think is really important. And most people don't even realize this. I mean, even, recourse versus non-recourse lending, where you're not on the hook for all of your assets on a non-recourse loan. If something goes wrong, they can only take the asset back. That institution, the lending institution, can just go over the asset that is pledged, not all of your other assets that are outside of that particular investment. So I think if you protect the dollars on the downside, you don't have to have as big of hits or returns on the upside. And then you can just focus on consistency, which leads me to my third commandment, which is find invisible deals. I like to find deals that no one else knows about, whether they're off market or they're not even for sale, but you decide to make an offer and it gets accepted. I just don't want the competition. I'd like to negotiate terms in a pretty, pretty like even keeled environment where no one's bidding me up, no one's offering anything else. And I found a lot of success in that. Or invisible deals could look like spotting trends. What does the future look like? What does, this next gen, what do millennials spend their money on? Or what are their habits compared to, Gen X or baby boomers? And if you can identify some of these trends, I got lucky, or, maybe I spent good time picking out trends that worked well in my favor before they're ever really popular, like mobile home park investing or cryptocurrency or e-commerce or cannabis, hemp, CBD. I mean, there's a whole laundry list of them. I mean, I got into single family home rentals before it was considered an asset class or that it was tracked that way. So, there's just trends as you can see them coming, warehouses and industrial distribution centers that are directly tied to e-commerce. And so I really like those things. And then I'll just kind of lump in commandment number 4 and commandment number 5, because they go hand in hand pretty well. Commandment 4 is to get your principal back quickly. And commandment 5 is to create immediate cash flow. I want cash flow to come day one. I want to make investments so that it doesn't matter if I'm upside down when the economy tanks. And I say when, because it's only a matter of time. Something's going to happen. We don't know when. No one knows when. At some point it's going to. But I want to be in a position where I cash flow and it doesn't matter what the value of my assets are. But at the same time, if you get your principal back quickly, imagine what you can do with those dollars. I call this the velocity of money. And I can just give you a few quick examples. I did an investment in an apartment complex, and it was a syndicated deal. Someone else was doing the deal. I invested with them. I got my money back in a year's period of time because of just the job that they did, the relationship they had with the lender. So I put $100,000 in, got $100,000 back within a year. I still have equity in that deal. I got my money back, as you guys know. I took that same $100,000 and I invested it in a note. But with this note, I negotiated some equity, some free equity, an equity kicker, a lot of people will call it. That's how I reference it in my book. So I take this, 100,000, this is on a 1-year note. I get 20% interest paid monthly. I get all that money back with a bonus and equity. So I've got my 100,000 back at the end of 1 year. So now I'm 2 years in with 2 different investments and 2 different sets of equity. I take that money, I invest it into a third deal to buy an operating company. I use leverage, bank loan for the rest of it, $100,000 down. I set up an accelerated distribution schedule with a partner that I bring in. I pay him incredible equity so that he's vested in it. This opportunity for him to run it is a higher salary than what he was making at his corporate job. Perfect win-win scenario. I can help him get out of the rat race. And then I set up this accelerated distribution schedule that I would make the vast majority of the distributions until my 100,000 is paid back. And then once it is, it reverts to what the cap table shows each of our equity at. And so I got my $100,000 back in about 6 months in that deal. I did it again in another deal, got it back in about probably close to 3.5 months. So now I've got 4 deals over 4 years, 4 different pieces of equity in totally different industries with all my money out of the deal. So I'm playing with house money in every single one of those instances. So I've totally reduced the risk. I've got tons of upside, and I've got, in each of these deals, a lot of tax advantages to offset the income that I'm actually making.
Well, this is a great point because you have a commandment, which you've learned by doing, but now it's something that you can use to drive your investment decisions. And here's several different investments where you're able to get that money back out, get the velocity going, and continue to parlay. So good stuff. Hey, Justin, just to make sure no investors left behind, there was a lot in there, a lot of different types of investments and so forth. I think one of the things to point out is that everybody's lifestyle is different. Therefore, what they're going to invest in is different. I think one of the challenges for people that invest passively or on the side, or they love what they do to live, thrive, and survive, and they've got to create their business return from real estate kind of in a part-time fashion. Talk about folks that you've worked with that are just getting started. What would you say to that brand new person who's like, I'm overwhelmed by it all. It's going to take forever. I can't afford it. What are some words of wisdom there?
Yeah. Anytime someone says I can't afford it, my immediate response is you can't afford not to do it then. I mean, it's literally the opposite of it. Like if you're in that situation or you're in dire straits, then you of all people can't afford not to do it. Like you're the last person that can wait to make moves.
Right.
And so, I just think that it doesn't take a lot of time to get educated. You can either let Wall Street and the financial advisors of the world educate you on the way that they make the most money. All right. And by the way, there are great financial advisors out there. I've got a lot of friends that are but it's small. I mean, only 5% of them in the last 15 years actually beat the S&P 500 index, which is your cheapest way of investing, right?
Right.
So you could just invest in an index, although I think the stock market's near all-time highs. The last couple of months, it's really kind of tinkered down, but it's still pretty high. It's still overinflated in my opinion. And so I think that if you really want to get ahead, partner with people that are, that have experience here, invest in other people's syndications that have a track record, who has actually been investing for longer than the last financial crisis, because you want to know who's weathered that storm. So ideally, you want someone that's been investing for 15, 20 years, if not more. But I also think that if you just go hunt deals, like if you figure out how to find a good deal and then you open it up to your network, I guarantee if you have a good deal, the money will show up. You will have an investor say, oh, I want in that. In fact, I'll do it for these terms. Because there are more people out there with money looking for a good deal than people with a good deal needing money. So the supply demand opportunity there is tremendous. So you don't have to have the money, go find the deal. If you do have the money, invest in it yourself and get a mentor, or invest in someone else's deal that has the track record, or invest in a fund with a whole bunch of assets that you're protecting yourself. Should one go wrong, it's okay because the balance of the portfolio is probably going to perform just fine.
Justin's book is called The Lifestyle Investor Book, and even if you didn't win on Real Estate Trivia, he's done a cool thing. He's going to get you a free copy. All you have to do is pay for the shipping and handling. And in order to get that book, we'll tell you when we come back what you need to do. But appreciate that, Justin. And he's also got a great podcast. You'll learn about that when you get the information about the book. Justin, this has been great stuff. Thanks so much for sharing with us today.
Oh, my pleasure. It's just so much fun to be here and talk with people that, have a passion for educating in this space as I do. So thanks for all you're doing for so many people and for having me on.
There's Justin Donald. More when we come back, and you'll learn how to get his book. You're tuned to the Real Estate Guys radio program. I'm your host, Robert Helms.
Need help with your real estate investment portfolio? Check out the resources page at realestateguysradio.com.
Hey, it's Robert Helms. Thanks so much for listening to the show today. I want to personally invite you to come see an amazing real estate market that combines excellent cash flow, offshore diversification, and what we affectionately call lifestyle investing. Come join me from August 26th to 29th in the beautiful country of Belize. The Real Estate Guys have been bringing investors to Belize for more than 15 years now, and our discovery trip is designed to show you the market like nobody else can. Sure, Belize is breathtakingly beautiful, the people are wonderful, and wait till you taste the food. But the real opportunity is the real estate investment potential. Demand for offshore real estate has skyrocketed since the coronavirus shutdown, and with retirees looking for lifestyle, the work-from-home workforce able to be productive from afar, and tourism coming back strong, now may be the perfect time to consider Belize as a place to diversify risk in your investment portfolio. There's all types of opportunity in Belize when it comes to real estate investing, including both long and short-term rentals, commercial and retail triple net properties, business opportunities, land acquisition, development, agriculture, and more. And as the only country in Latin America with English as its official language, it's easy to understand the law. Property rights are strong, and real estate contracts are in English. And at Ambergris Caye, a unique situation exists where demand for rentals continues to outstrip supply, creating a compelling environment for investors. So come see for yourself. Join me in August in Ambergris Caye, Belize, as we study the market, learn about the sustainable drivers, and tour lots of beautiful real estate. And like all of our field trips, there are no properties for sale during the weekend. Rather, you'll meet lots of local providers that will help educate you about the market so that you can follow up with them after the trip if the market is interesting to you. You've heard about Belize and the Real Estate Guys for all these years. Now come see what all the excitement is about. Plus, we'll have lots of time over meals and activities to talk about all things real estate. To get the details, go to the website at realestateguysradio.com and click on events where you'll find the Belize Discovery Trip. Once you register, you'll get information about our group hotel rates as well as travel details. So join me in Belize, August 26th to 29th. It's a beautiful country with lots of amazing possibilities, and the only thing missing is you. Go to realestateguysradio.com under events, and I look forward to seeing you in beautiful Belize.
Hi, folks. This is Adam Taggart from Wealthion, and you're listening to The Real Estate Guys.
And welcome back to the Real Estate Guys radio program. Thanks for tuning into the show. If you've ever thought about doing bigger deals using other people's money, or if you want the lifestyle of set it and forget it, and you want to come alongside successful syndicators like Justin was talking about, then come on out to the Secrets of Successful Syndication. It's our 2-day workshop. We do it just twice a year. The next one is just around the corner. You can get all the details on the website at realestateguysradio.com under events. Well, my goodness, lots to think about when it comes to lifestyle investing.
Yeah, Justin is obviously extremely articulate, but what I really appreciate about him is he's very thoughtful. He's a kind of a thoughtful, strategic thinker. If you go back and really listen over and over again, which I encourage you to do, to the thought process, how he approached the problem of transitioning from where he was, where he didn't quite have everything he wanted, to getting his wife out of the workforce and back home and able to support her, and then how he went about the process of attacking the problem of building a portfolio, but also building a lifestyle. There's a lot of just good, solid foundational thinking. He talks about commandments. I use the term principles, but I love it whenever you listen to somebody who's successful. What I always listen for are patterns and principles. And of course, Justin makes it easy because he's very clear about the thought process of how he goes about the decision making. And then he's also very clear about his commandments. And I thought that first commandment, The very first one that he laid out was fantastic, because I say all the time, when you have clarity of vision, strategy and tactics will become evident. People ask us all the time, gosh, you guys are the real estate guys. Why do you do this goal setting? What does goal setting have to do with real estate? And of course, our answer is just everything,
Right.
Just everything, because the whole purpose of your investing is to support the lifestyle that you envision for yourself. And if you don't have that vision, to Justin's point, then the activity of investing will literally take over your life, and you have a life that is not built by design, but by default. And I think that's one of the worst mistakes people make, whether they're investing or in their career choices, starting a business or working for somebody else. They solve for the simple question, like, how can I make money, instead of really, how can I build something that will pay me to live how I want to live, which begs the question, how do I want to live? So I encourage people, if you haven't been, or even if you have been, make sure you have on your calendar to come out to the Create Your Future goal setting retreat. Again, realestateguysradio.com. Look under events. It is not our most profitable event by any stretch. We don't really do it for the money, but we think it makes the most profound difference in helping people figure out how to approach the problem of building wealth from the lifestyle perspective. So check that out.
Justin, like a lot of investors, has figured out that clarity is critical by not having much when he started out. Bouncing around, his friend says, how about this investment? And he can't get his mind around it, doesn't want to come to this seminar, right? All that stuff is people are searching. But the sooner you get clarity on who you are, what you want, what you're willing to do to get it, what is too high of a price to pay, and then what it really takes, the better. Clarity is your friend, and focus is intense. So at the very least, spend some time after this podcast to get clear. Are you already on the path you need to be? Is this, we're singing to the choir today because you're like, yeah, that's me, exactly. Or are you thinking, oh my gosh, I'm doing it wrong? And if that's the case, start to ponder how to incorporate what you do in your real estate investing into your lifestyle. We've seen so many great examples of this over the years. Real estate entrepreneurs that we meet that are doing something for the passion. It just happens to make a lot of money from the real estate perspective. We talk about social capitalism. Our friends Josh and Lisa Lannon, who wrote the Social Capitalist book in the Rich Dad Advisors series, that's what they do. They are impassioned about a purpose, and they've had more than one over the years, and then they figure out how to wrap a business around it that feeds them intrinsically. It feeds their lifestyle because it's profit making. Social capitalism is not about charity. It's about making a profit while you make a difference. But at the same time, it feeds their soul.
Well, and the other thing that Justin talked about, which I thought was super valuable, was his concept of risk. And if you're looking to make change in your life, which is presumably the only reason you're listening to a show like this, is because you're looking for answers. Kiyosaki taught us it's not about information, it's about transformation. And one of the important transformations you have to be willing to make if you're going to be an investor or an entrepreneur is your relationship with risk. You have to accept it. The funny thing is, people joke all the time, oh, you want security? Yeah, well, then commit a capital offense and end up in solitary confinement. You'll be as secure as you can be, but you have zero freedom. And so if you begin to equate the term security with lack of freedom, then you realize you really want to have insecurity in your life in order to have the opportunities to design the life you want. And so it's learning how to take those calculated risks. And you do that with good education. You do that with good due diligence and diligent thought process for sound decision making. You do that by having good advisors. You do that by learning your trade, by starting small or working alongside someone who is working on a big project and you play a small part. That's why we love to invest alongside operators who are very seasoned in their space. They've got their 10,000 hours, they're expert, and we put a little money in there and then we learn from them. And then somewhere down the road, if we decide, hey, I want to be that guy, we can do that. I never want to be that guy. I always want to be the guy that just comes alongside the other person with their 10,000 hours, but that's my personal lifestyle choice. But really spending time to develop your relationship with risk, starting with the willingness to change from whatever you are now, wherever it is you're comfortable, and start to make those strategic decisions to change your life. And it starts with changing your personal paradigm about what is security and what is risk.
And success is different for everybody. You started the show with the example of that gentleman we met in Las Vegas. I'll never forget that trip. This guy was hemorrhaging cash, making $1 million a year in cash flow, and he was miserable. The one time he decided to take a 2-week vacation, he brought his brother-in-law in, And the guy ripped him off. And from that moment on, he's like, I can never leave this place. And I thought, wow, I never want to be that guy. And as we think about investing as a lifestyle, one of the easiest ways that Justin talked about is this idea of passively investing alongside a seasoned operator. That's going to disrupt your life as little as possible. If you choose to learn about it, you can, right? We have folks that invest in syndications that want to learn and they want to, be part of the process and they want to understand and they want to read everything and they want to go to the property.
That's how you started.
Yeah, exactly. And then other folks are like, well, no, I don't ever want to care where the property is. I just want to see the financial return. So it's not right or wrong. Don't think that lifestyle investing means that you have to do all the work. It could be the exact opposite. But it also can be that it becomes part of who you are. There are people, and they aren't the majority, I think, that's my opinion, in the flip and fix business who are just really great at it, love it. They eat, live, breathe, fixing up houses. Well, that's awesome. We always say that people that flip houses aren't really real estate investors because an investor puts their money out and has it work for them, but they are making money. It's a way to make money. It's a job, and it could be a really great job if it's something that you dig. A lot of the people that are listening have those experience sets and skills to be able to go out and do that kind of work and maybe get enjoyment from it. We've got a good friend owns a very big, fabulous, wonderful 4.5-star hotel, and his passion is gardening. And to this day, if you are to pull up in the hotel, you might see this guy up in front of the hotel in his gardening outfit, gardening on the property. No one would have any idea he's the owner of the property, but it's what he loves. Yeah, owning, a really nice name brand hotel is cool, but what he loves is he's got unlimited amount of gardening he can do.
Well, that's at the end of the day, isn't that what it comes down to? You always say, Robert, it's only work if you'd rather be doing something else. And when I think about retirement, to me, I'm retired because I get to get up every day and do what I want, and I get paid to do it. You get paid to do what you want with who you want to do it with and go and see the places you want to see. Everybody in life, no matter where you're at in life, has to deal with a certain amount of crap. Nobody's saying that you get a stress-free life. In fact, I laugh all the time when someone comes to me and says, oh my God, I'm so stressed out. I'm like, congratulations, you own a business. Congratulations, you're an investor. Congratulations, you're alive.
Yep.
Because if you are any of those things, you're going to have issues. But the idea is you want to mitigate as many of those issues, and you want to have the kind of problems that you enjoy actually solving. Because people work on puzzles, people play games, people enjoy solving problems when they're the right kind of problem. And if you approach business and investing that way, even that can become fun, dealing with the issues. So I think the point is, as Stephen Covey says, always begin with the end in mind. And so when you think about the possibilities for yourself, I would encourage people, especially those people just getting started out as being kind of an older guy and having made this mistake, don't two-step it. Don't think, okay, I'm going to do whatever I need to do to make money, and then when I have enough money, I can live how I want to live. I would really encourage you to think about how you want to live and learn how to make money doing that. And if you can solve for that, you're going to end up having a lifestyle and an income and a future that you're very, very happy with. And you'll be a great example for all the other people who see you solve that harder problem to believe that they can solve it too.
Big thanks to Justin Donald for sparking this conversation. If you'd like a copy of his book, it's called The 10 Commandments of Lifestyle Investing. If you'll send an email to Justin at realestateguysradio.com, Justin, his first name, at realestateguysradio.com. We'll tell you how you can get a free copy of the book. You will have to pay for the shipping, but he'll give you the book for free, and you also get information on Justin's podcast. Next week on the show, we're going to talk about passive investing from a little different angle, but you're going to dig it. We've got an awesome guest. And then coming up for Father's Day, oh my gosh, we are so excited to have a episode called Lessons from Dad. Some very notable people will be sharing the lessons they got from their fathers. It's going to be a great summer. Thanks for tuning into the Real Estate Guys. Until next week, go out and make some equity happen.
This episode of the Real Estate Guys radio show is brought to you by Paradigm Life. Powerful cash management strategies using life insurance. Learn more at beyourbank.com. Mid-South Home Buyers. Low-cost, turnkey cash flow properties in Memphis, Tennessee. Corporate Direct. Asset protection strategies for real estate investors from attorney and rich dad advisor Garrett Sutton.
Find these and other great companies under the Resources tab at realestateguysradio.com. To learn how you can expose your product or service to the Real Estate Guys audience, call 888-489-7723 extension 4. That's 888-489-7723 extension 4. Or use the feedback page at realestateguysradio.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week right here on the Real Estate Guys Radio Show.